Hey, back for another short video, hopefully. I just thought we'd talk again about some things for the amount of time allotted here, 15 minutes. And so what we're going to take a quick look at here, if I ain't lost it yet, is, since this is the first we got up, let's go to Numbers 24. And the reason why we're going to go to Numbers and look at Numbers 24 is where we get the 4 oracles pronounced upon the nation of Israel by Balaam. Now, we're just going to say a few things here, nothing too in-depth, but it's all about making your connections, and this is a very pivotal chapter, to make a lot of your connections too once you get all of your allegorical understanding down. So remember, on my channel, Ruth Abbey, and on this one, we take a look at the scriptures through allegorical terminology. It is largely what we do. And what we've come to understand, of course, is that the men of Baal, which links us back to Balaam, which was son of Beor, is where we really began to understand what really took place in the nation of Israel. And that was that the men began to reject the wives of their covenant. And that represents the spirit of your covenant, which meant the righteous daughter of Zion. And we're told what Edom did to her. They razed her to the ground. They did not want a covenant with her. And they began to build up a harlot spirit. That takes us to Nimrod. And we have a lot of things that we could speak on Nimrod. But we're not going to do that. But what we do want to take a look at in Numbers 24 is verse 3. It says, "And he lifted up an oracle, saying, This is the prophecy of Balaam, son of Beor, the prophecy of a man whose eyes are open." Now what's interesting in this chapter is Balaam was doing something that, to my way of thinking, is really strange. He was not only calling on the Spirit of the Lord, he was also practicing, what does it say? How does it say it here? Let me see. He was practicing, I believe it says, enchantments, right at the same time. So how could he be calling on demons and still be calling on the power of the true living God, which he clearly was doing in this chapter? So it's just something for you to look at and think about, because he was clearly doing this. And what it really is going to link you back to is the dividing of the spirit, the woman, all right, into a harlot spirit and in a righteous spirit has always existed. But she also permitted this to play out, from what we understand. But what I really wanted to look at, not so much that what Balaam was doing was really odd to our way of thinking. He was calling on the power of both, is what he was doing in this chapter. It's just something for you to look at. But I wanted to look at the name of his father, because it really links us back to so many other aspects of the allegory. And that's Balaam's father's name, Beor. And the reason why that's important is because it links us back to the Shulamite. And Beor, which was the father of Balaam, means a burning, all right? So let's just link that, this father who had a burning. Well, what does that mean? Well, when you go to Song of Songs, we're going to look at that Shulamite again. I know we've looked at it a lot. What does it say in Song of Songs 1:6? She says, "Look not upon me, because I am black. My mother's sons were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyard, but my own I have not kept." Right? And it says, the children were angry. That's what it says. The sons were angry. But what that means is a burning. All right? If you go look that word up in your Hebrew concordance, it's going to mean a burning as well, an anger. It's a burning. So what were the men really angry about and burning about? Well, according to what we've come to understand, is that the men were really upset that they had to receive the law at daughter Zion's lips, mouth. Which, ironically, that word mouth is going to take you to the wilderness, the desert, which is what they did to Zion. They made her a desolate land. They made her without children. They razed her to the ground. They wanted nothing to do with her. And so The thing that most people miss about the day of the Lord, and it's very important to get this, the day of the Lord is about the controversy of Zion, all right? It is not about the dividing of the land, what they're doing to modern day Israel, which, what does it say in Ephesians, not Ephesians, Galatians? We'll go there and we'll reference this. What does it say in Galatians? It says this. In Galatians chapter 4, I passed it. It says, verse, okay, it says, which things are an allegory? Galatians 4:24, we've looked at this many times. It says, which things are an allegory? For these are the two covenants, the one from the Mount Sinai, which gendereth to bondage, which is Hagar. So it means this harlot spirit that are under man-made law that he wrote by his own hand, because he did not want to receive them at the mouth of the daughter of Zion. So he razed her to the ground, built his own so-called stronghold, and made a covenant really with himself. And that is considered the abomination that maketh desolate. There will be no children from that false covenant. None. And we're going to look at that through Rachel's eyes in a minute. And so it says, but what does it say? For this Hagar is Mount Sinai in where? In Arabia. But it answereth to Jerusalem, which now is and is in bondage with her children. So what are they saying? Well, they're saying that modern day Jerusalem is not what God considers Jerusalem, not according to this. For this Hagar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, and answereth to Jerusalem. So what we came to discover was that the men of Israel rejected a covenant with their own women called the Spirit. You go to Malachi 2, it's verified that they did this very thing. Right? Malachi 2 says this. We'll get there maybe. So what does it say? I think I'm past it. Malachi 2. What does it say? Verse 14, we'll pick it up there. Yet ye say, wherefore? Because the Lord hath been witness between thee and the wife of thy youth, against whom thou hast dealt treacherously, yet is she thy companion and the wife of thy covenant. Treacherously means unfaithfully. They did not want to hearken to her commandments, which came directly from Mother God. And when they tore her down, they rejected the Spirit that gave life. That's what they did. And did not she make one? Yet have he the residue of the Spirit. And wherefore one? That she might seek a godly seed. Therefore take heed to your spirit, and let none deal treacherously or unfaithfully against the wife of his youth, of his true covenant, who it's supposed to be with, these righteous daughters. But the first Adam did not want a covenant with the righteous spirit Zion. So he denied that covenant, and he said, I'll make my own. I'll make my own covenant, so that the kingdom might be base. And you find that in Ezekiel 17. So that the kingdom might not pick its head up, lift itself up. And it's referring to the women of this kingdom is really what it's referring to when you get your deeper understandings. Now, with Rachel, what does Rachel say? Let me see if I can find it here. And the word for mouth you want to look at is 4057. It means desert, but it means mouth. But it also links us back to Zion's meaning, which means dry, parched ground. So he made her ground dry, he made her desolate, is what he did, is your understanding. But here, and the ironic thing is, Rachel's name means you. It means a lamb. Alright? And it's ironic because it's really showing you her as the desolate spirit is really what it's showing you. That man rejected a covenant with. So Jeremiah 31 verse 15, this is what the Lord says. A voice is heard in Ramah, mourning and great weeping. Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted because they are no more. Well, when you look the word Ramah up, it means high places. A voice is heard in the high places. Well, how did we discover the daughters of Zion if it wasn't linked to the high places, which you're going to find in Proverbs chapter 9. Is what this is what this is. It says, wisdom hath builded her house, she has hewn out her 7 pillars. She has killed her beasts, she has mingled her wine, she has also furnished her table. She has sent forth her maidens, she crieth upon the highest places of the city. So Rachel is weeping for the loss of her children, and she's weeping in the high places. So what children might she actually be weeping for? Well, she's weeping for the loss of her daughters. That's who she's actually weeping for, which came to be representative of the northern kingdom, Israel. Now the men there tore down or ripped down their covenant first, according to what Dan did. Dan was the first one to actually really begin, according to scriptures, the tearing down of this covenant. And it says, Jeremiah 31 verse 15, it says, this is what the Lord says, keep your voice from weeping and your eyes from tears, for the reward for your work will come, declares the Lord. Then your children will return from the land of the enemy. Well, what's the land of the enemy? Well, the land of the enemy would be the Gentile nations, where they were cast into the wilderness, as we come to understand, is really where the righteous spirit ends up being cast. We're told she's burned to ashes. We discussed that at least in my write-ups underneath some of these videos. And so it says, she has sent forth her maidens, she crieth upon the highest places of the city, again back to Proverbs 9. And it's these maidens who is representing the daughters of Zion, who man's covenant was supposed to be with. Now he rejected that. And we're told what the first Adam did. But what does it say? He says, even my close friend whom I trusted. In Psalm 41, this is the Spirit saying, even my close friend whom I trusted, the one who shared my bread. To eat of bread means to be filled or to be fed by something. He has lifted his heel against me. This was what Adam did to his partner, to the wife of his covenant. He lifted his heel against her. But you, O Lord, be gracious to me and raise me up that I may repay them. But this I know, that you delight in me, for my enemy does not triumph over me. So this truth is going to be known by the end. I'm almost out of time already. It's unbelievable how quick 15 minutes goes by. But, just look at Proverbs where she says, bread eaten in secret and, let me see, do I have it here? Just let me see here. Bread eaten in secret, or waters drank in secret is pleasant. Yeah, stolen waters are sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. So it's talking about the harlot spirit that stole her covenant from her, which links you back to what she's saying in Psalm 41. And there's so many the quick elements that you can piece together to understand who the Lord really intended to speak through. That's why woman is the last thing created, and that's why the Jews will tell you themselves, the Judaic teachings is that woman represents the greater aspect of God. They will teach you this. But then on the other hand, they'll do everything in their power to dismiss it all away. But that is a truth that they have to tell you and then bury it over with a whole bunch of other man-made lies. But she is indeed the greater portion of God. Woman represents the Spirit. And that is why Zion, oftentimes wilderness will link you to the mouth, but it says also in Micah, she will go into that wilderness and there she will birth her firstborn. And the firstborn is a daughter that is indwelt with the spirit of Mother God, fully known as the daughter of Zion, Mother of Jerusalem. So I have to cut it off there because I'm already over my time. Just a little something for us all to think about. There's so many connections to make. I'll try to do some more 15-minute videos and throw them up. And I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching.